Atentos, preparados, intro, Factor Fintech Podcast, toma 1. Acción.
Hi,
Peter,
how are you?
welcome my friend.
Thank you. How are you today?
Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un nuevo capítulo de Podcast Factor Fintech. Hoy tenemos el placer de tener un nuevo invitado internacional, por primera vez también nos acompaña desde la región asiática, cuya visión global realmente vale la pena escuchar y estamos muy felices de tenerlo con nosotros este día. Entiende los mercados como nadie, los vive, los explica de una forma muy inteligente, muy audaz. Y bueno, nos va a adentrar en el mundo de las finanzas también a nivel internacional. Nuestro invitado se llama Peter Chun, bienvenido, fundador de Silverbear Capital, una firma internacional de servicios financieros que opera entre Hong Kong, New York, Dubai, Vietnam y México. Y más países, y Canadá. So Peter, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. First of all, this is Factor Fintech Podcast. We would like to welcome you. What can you tell us about yourself?
Well, thank you for having me. So, I love to be in Mexico. It's one of my favorite cities. So, actually, just to give everybody a short, little high level background about what we do. Actually, we're a merger and acquisition shop. So, our investment bank right now is probably still we still have around 250 partners right now in the firm after COVID because some decided to retire during COVID and it was just nothing to do. And we covered the probably most of the region on this planet except the places where it's still under a certain battle or war. And we look at all shape, form, and sizes of different projects from startups to I would say more mature Series B, Series C, and then we obviously helped a lot of companies to arrive at this destination by taking them public. Recently, I did heard some very I would say exciting news that Aeromexico did finally got listed in the stock exchange after some lengthy battle with the
What a
regime. But I'm so happy for them. Like when I heard the news, I would just say, "Oh, this is like opening a whole new way of looking at things for Mexico companies going forward into the international space."
Okay. So, Silverbear Capital. What's your, Peter, before we get into the technical side of markets and corporate finance, I want to start with something more personal. You travel constantly. We'll talk about it off cameras. One day you're in Hong Kong, next day you're in Dubai, now you're in Mexico City. You tell me that you live in Canada. So, how do you handle all this kind of life, all this rhythm of your life every day?
Yes, I've been kind of enjoying the traveling. I must say myself, although it's kind of pretty tough, when you have to handle all the time zones. But actually, this gives me the ability to, or maybe the opportunity to actually meet different people who became very good friends. And through friendship, then we started to develop ideas, and ideas turns into opportunity. Opportunity turns into a business. So it has been a very enjoyable journey for me to kind of meet different friends and be able to then bridge everybody into a room where there is probably differences in their theories, mindset, cultural differences, and be able to actually have them sit down and become a I would say an alliance.
Okay.
So this traveling uh, kind of journey for me had been actually very enjoyable. When although it's pretty tough doing all the time zones, but actually in the end, I saw a lot of my friends do get to do things that they wanted to do, and they are able to then be brought together
Mhm.
through my pilgrimage. So this is kind of how I kind of look at the personal life of me when I was doing all the hard traveling. Um, and I couldn't say I have done it more than I would like to, because every single time when I was in the city, there were so many friends to meet, so many new friends to even
Yeah.
to meet, and I missed out all the National Geographic sessions. So I didn't spend enough time to actually maybe do the local attractions, and maybe to kind of enjoy some of the very exciting things that the local people had actually achieved. For example, one thing that I was amazed was one of the libraries in Mexico City.
So
Yeah, it was a piece of art.
art, architecture and art.
So that's how I look at it.
The way you say it, you sound more like I mean, you no longer belong to your country. You're a global citizen. I mean, you travel a lot. You acquire the culture of every country, the the information, the economics. I mean, every aspect.
Yes.
You travel and you go with that in your head, and then you move to the other country. I have to say, I admire you. I like to have that kind of life one day, but I also like to explore and do more attractions and go every try to get involved in the culture of every country you visit.
Yes.
So that's a good life. Good
Yes.
for you. Now let's move to the interesting part about your business.
Yes.
So when people hear Silverbear Capital, they often think of big investment banking, complex transactions, M&A, and for many that feels distant. You have this kind of particular way to explain things to simplify it.
Well,
Can you
actually,
give us an example?
yes. To simplify it, yes, we do call ourselves the M&A investment bank on the street. But the one of the reason why we wanted to do that is because we believe the structural side of the business is more important than the money that we bring in.
Okay.
If you are able to synergetic business and or business combinations together correctly, then you're using the business to drive the capital power that you bring in, and therefore investors makes money. That's the first thing. Second thing is because most of our friends on the street are investment bank, merchant bank, maybe financial advisors, whatever you wanted to label them as, but their main function is to provide services or financial advisories to clients.
Okay.
Whereby, because I don't want to end up competing with my friends, we wanted to be positioned so that we're a co-banker
Okay.
to them, and we're one of the special uh, shop on the street that fixed like that, and therefore we ended up not competing with anybody on the street. And now we're creating this friendly alliances among all the other consultants, advisors, broker dealers, investment banks, so that now we get a chance to work together on the same project without competing with each other. That's basically what Silverbear is actually in short form is.
I mean, I think it's more complex, but it's a very simple way to explain it in this economic world. Um, okay. Corporate finance in plain language, M&A, capital, stock loans. One thing I admire about your communication style, now you prove it, is how you turn technical topics into something easy to understand for everybody. For example, when we talk about M&A, you once told me, it's like helping two companies get married or divorced. That sounds good. I love that analogy. So let me ask you, what does an M&A process feel like from the inside?
The M&A is more the ongoing management mindset of the company that needs to be defined before the M&A, because from the inside, you're actually merging the people and not the business.
Okay.
So from the inside, it's very important that we do find the right match so that the husband and wife don't get to divorce quick enough so that they can live on, under the same roof,
Yeah.
hopefully happily.
Yeah. Ever after.
Because yes, it's all about the momentum. So the M&A from inside is more the people than the business. A lot of people look at financial statements. Oh, you're making money, you're not making money.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It's another world for me.
Yes, but if you have two groups of people working hand in hand and provided that synergetic component that they found themselves, they needed each other.
Yeah.
Now you got a very good match.
Good marriage.
Yes.
So now let's move to capital raising. Many listeners want to understand what it really means and how companies should approach it. And finally, something that surprised me when I learned about Silverbear Capital was stock loans. Many people don't even know they exist. So the way I should explain it is, it's like taking a loan using your shares as collateral without having to sell them. Can you walk us through these concepts, M&A, capital raising, and stock loans, in a way anyone can understand without drowning in financial jargon?
Well, actually, that is only a program that we have been trying to provide to, I would say, uh, friends or clients who had this bridging need, and this bridging need was for him to maybe to provide liquidity to maybe a new idea of his,
Okay.
where the idea is just too new, and then nobody is kind of capturing what he was trying to do, and he has to, I would say, provide his own skin in the game. And if it happens that he has some other um, uh, collateral like stock, whatever. So instead of like a house, so we still wanted to still trying to support him in that business, and that's kind of how we had been able to say, oh, if you have collateral around you, we'll be able to at least help you amplify the collateral and still fund you money for some meaningful projects that you're after. So actually, that stock loan that you're talking about is attached usually to a, I would say, a project that we kind of share that, oh, this is something that we should go after. The shares is only part of the security that in case something really bad happened, we have something to recruit on. That's all.
Breaking, just in case.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, another subject. Going public without an APO, RTOs, and specs. Um, Most people believe that to go public, a company needs a long, expensive IPO process without a major bank leading the way. But you also work with alternative paths, RTOs, and specs, that can be faster or more flexible depending on the company. I often describe it like this. It's like entering a concert through the side door while everyone else is lined up in the main entrance. Your words. Is that accurate? And more importantly, who is a good candidate for an RTO or a SPAC? Who should definitely not go this route?
Usually that's a good question actually. A lot of people uses the RTO and specs when they were trying to achieve speed because that gives you speed. So is whenever you have maybe a particular business that you need to go public and to be able to attach yourself to full liquidity in the market without waiting for the long queue on the IPO, that's when you wanted to do the RTO and specs. The second thing is because RTO and specs allow you to build your own valuation model. It means that you can be more creative about how you uh, define your valuation. So supposedly, for example, when you list an IPO company, you can only do maybe 20 times PE multiple.
Yeah.
But when you do maybe a SPAC, you decided you wanted to do maybe do 40 multiple. And the SPAC structure allows you to do that as long as you believe the market optically will still follow you under 40 times.
Okay.
And that spec structure on RTO would then allow you to achieve that. And this is when usually when we will go and say, oh, let's do this because we believe that the retail market will still follow through with what we believe to be the market valuation rather than the hardcore valuation on paper.
Sounds good. Perfect. Now, I'm going to ask you like this, just simply. What brings you to Mexico City?
Some friends, some good, very good friends, but we've been looking at the market for some time over in Mexico, and we've been very fortunate to have some local team member that has always been very patiently involved to seek opportunities around the town, and we think this is the right timing for us to enter into the market to not just support, but to probably help transform locally with some of our friends here, and as to how we can actually portray building a local business, crossing the borders and become international
Yeah.
within the next few years. So that's basically that's the main reason why I wanted to land in Mexico myself.
So that's a proof that Mexico is a good platform for Silverbear Capital. Okay, going to the next question. Something that defines Silverbear Capital is a concept you often use, smart capital. Not just money, capital that comes with vision, support, and strategic value. When I speak to you, it feels like you're constantly looking at the world as a map full of opportunities, connecting, you just say it, ideas and regions across Hong Kong, New York, Dubai, Vietnam, and now Mexico City. So let me ask you, what makes capital smart?
Is that I think the capital, there's two pieces of smart capital around us. So one piece is obviously the capital that brings you constant liquidity return. That's kind of the first simple layer. Then the second smart way of looking at the capital is when we looked at a particular terrain or economy, we wanted to position useful investments around the ecosystems so that you will then look at or be able to look at putting yourself on the map in a different way so that you're not just investing into companies, but you're investing into the ecosystem around these companies so that you get to pivot your investment faster than the rest of the people. There is some old examples that are being repeated all the time.
Okay.
For example, that there is maybe a fintech company that is doing well in the US, and then a local fintech company in Mexico had repeated them, but only do it more better because they localize
Yeah.
the system. All this Mexico fintech company needs to do is to build it up for probably maybe the next 2-3 years, and we usually can pivot the whole M&A transaction and liquid this piece of Mexico fintech company be bought out by a US company with a very big valuation.
Okay.
And this is the second part how capital can be smartly used when you do cross-border transaction, when you see simple things that are being just done a little bit more local.
And that's smart.
And
Smart
that's
move. Smart move, smart capital.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we're about to finish. So just for the last 5 minutes. First, you work with companies of all sizes. You speak at conferences and you're constantly advising leaders. So for the CEOs that are listening to this podcast, what are your top 3 practical tips for raising capital and growing strategically? And second, a human message. Behind all the financial mechanics, there are people trying to build something meaningful. What would you like listeners to take away from this conversation?
Usually, I have always been telling all my friends about this is a people's game. So the first step with any CEO is to surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
Building a very good board of directors is extremely important, and that board of directors must be a balanced board of directors so that you are actually being navigated and also being compliant by the board. That would be called a good board. Because if you are only running the show and everybody has to listen to you, you might not be able to absorb all the necessary information on or advice around you.
Okay.
So picking the right board and being able to see yourself in the board so that you're reading all the data correctly around you so that you're making the right decisions is the first step. Then once you establish that, then it's about go to market with any things that you do, from fintech to real estate to supply chain agriculture is always about to go to market. Then, but to go to market, usually I would build up a good advisory board below the board of directors that allow you to be able to connect to people, companies, capital, ideas, so that when your product goes to market, you have the biggest chance of success.
Yeah.
After that, usually is bringing companies like ourselves who kind of like more of a strategic player in different space, and I'll be able to usually um, lead maybe a syndicate around with our money to show confidence in you in the company, but also being able to then bring in new capital that had never really probably thought of even going into, say, the local market because they're just sitting comfortably back in London or Singapore or maybe Zurich or US because they just sit there.
Yeah.
So usually because of our passionate way of doing business, so usually we will then introduce these new investors around for the local CEOs to meet, talk about things, not just like communicate, but it's more about, oh well, this is never done before, say here, and then why don't we do this and that sort of discussion will hopefully upgrade the mindset of the local companies. And plus, although the CEO locally is already probably were connecting themselves, but then this hopefully will give them some new DNA into the mindset so that, oh, maybe this guy is looking at this but in this way,
Yeah.
no matter this guy's wrong or right, but then there's some room for compromisation or such. Then raising money, then usually once you're on A round, usually from my experience, B, C, D round usually are not so difficult.
Yeah.
Because on B round usually you're already doing revenue, and it's about scaling up. So the challenge that usually what we have is the liquid event, whereby at where or which time frame that this particular company should do a liquidity event like IPO.
Okay.
That's usually the challenge. That's usually it's like when you should do that. The A round's probably the challenging part, but usually B round, C round, D round after what I just suggested, usually we'll bring up to speed very quickly with the network that we have.
I love how you speak. I love it. Okay, just last message. What are your expectations for next year, 2026? How you see it?
Well, we wanted to amplify our influence in this region. I would probably wanted to also try to pivot the slight downturn of the economy here is because I think there's a lot of, I would say, room to recover it.
Okay.
So from technology, from fintech, from I would even go to healthcare as well. Real estate, yes. Tourism, there's a lot of room to be improved. So, and then again, the building of the economy here has been has been very interesting because I see a lot of the government supporting the phase for solar, the ESG around. So I think there's so many things around the country, the local region, with regards to just like even ESG, maybe just looking at solar and wind, or maybe even local infrastructure. There's so much to be improved, and I think there is also the local support of people now that coming together under certain, I would say, cultural mindset to let's turn this into something bigger.
Okay.
So I can feel that energy. And actually 2026, looking back the history, that when I first got here the first time, the local population and the friends that I know had evolved quite dramatically, like the advance in how people are living here, how things are being looked at, how they connect to the rest of the world, how they battle along the differences. The energy is actually amazing.
We have embraced technology in such huge ways in our daily life that it's part of the growth of this region of the world. I mean, I'm also surprised, to be honest,
Yes.
but it's a good advice you have given us. So, Peter, that's it for today.
Thank
Thanks so much for coming. This is our camera one, camera two. Peter Chun, Silverbear Capital, and citizen of the world.
Thank you.